I don't know what it was inside of me. I just wanted to know what was going on, and I was going insane, 350 miles away. Welcome back to another episode of Life, Recovery, and the Pursuit of Sanity. I'm Josh Logan, and in case you didn't already realize that my channel doesn't say Josh Logan, or the intro doesn't say Josh Logan, so I use my online handle is Astro, and I got different variations of that name, and so I chose to go with that. But this is more of a vlog, so I'm gonna stick with my real name. So last episode I discussed early recovery. Well, it wasn't early recovery, it was what led me into recovery, and the details with that. If you missed it, check it out. I'll link it up in the cart below or cart above. So one of the things that I missed out of that last story, and I'm just going to kind of cover again, when the ambulance came to pick me up and take me to the emergency room, to the hospital, apparently I was naked. I don't know how I got naked, but I was in the bathroom. I don't know what was going on. But anyway, so when the ambulance came to get me and put me, in the ambulance, I was butt naked. So I didn't have any ID or anything. And so my wife had tried to get a hold of me, and she couldn't, and so she started getting worried. So she was calling different places trying to figure out where I was, morgues too, the sheriff's department. I mean, she was calling everywhere, and I was like, I was gone. Well, it turns out when they admitted me, I don't know how they even got this variation of the name, but when they admitted me as Josh Long. And so every time she called the hospital, well, we don't have a Josh Logan here. And so that was a whole nother hot mess. And that was, that was scary for my wife. And so another thing that I left out, and it wasn't on purpose, it was just, I was in the flow, but I was thinking about this. So when I was I spent 7 days in under surveillance, 24-hour surveillance for suicide watch, and then another 3 days in the psych ward at Cox North. And I talked to my mom on the phone while I was in the psych ward, and she said, I think Stephanie's seeing someone. And so, and that plays a big role, because I think there was a whole bunch of things that just came together that allowed me to really pull my head out of my butt and start to see some of the destructive things that I was doing. And hey, maybe it's time to start acting like a man, like a husband, like a father. And so she had told me this, and I talked to her, and I wasn't sure when I talked to her. I knew I was going to want to try, but I was like, man, this is going to be really difficult, so I kind of hem-hawed around. And so this plays a big role in my recovery. And so I knew that she was involved with another guy. And so, mind you, I had told her that I was done shortly before I tried to commit suicide. And so in her mind, it's time to move on. It's time, just, he doesn't want me anymore. And so that is what it is. I can't say that I still don't deal with some of the feelings of that. But for the most part, they're not at the forefront of my mind. There's little, snippets that, I think about it and I'm like, and I'm just trying to be really transparent. Mind you, this is 6 years later. So anyway, I told you last time that I was going to be talking about my trip to Iowa. And so I had planned this trip to Iowa, and really the goal of this trip was to get clean. It really was. I never intended on anything that happened. My goal was I'm going to go down to Iowa or go up to Iowa. I'm going to stay with my mom, and I'm going to dry out. I'm going to be in a safe place with my kids, and I'm going to dry out. But before that, of course I was high as a kite. So anyway, go up to Iowa. And I stayed there 2 weeks. So 2 weeks I stayed in Iowa, away from people here in Springfield, away from the people that I knew. And lo and behold, I actually made it 3 days not using. That was a miserable 3 days. But some guys found out that I was in town. And of course, they were trying to sneak around but still get high, and so they started talking to me about, hey, can I get you some pseudoephedrine, and I'll get you everything you need, just make a batch and help us out. And so I really did try, but 3 days after, I gave this guy my car keys, and I'm not going to bust him out because he's clean now, and I'm very proud of him. And he seems to be doing really good, for as far as I can tell. I don't communicate with him, but I am friends with him on Facebook. So I gave him my car, and he had to go to Illinois to pick up some pills. And it was tough because it was that pull that I knew this is a bad idea. This is stupid, Josh. You don't want to do this. But that compulsion, that obsession was really overtaking me, and it got the better of me. And so I remember the first 3 days really well of being in Iowa. But then after that, I ended up, I was behind my mom's house, shaking off a batch of dope. And then it was on from there. I did my best to make sure that my kids were well taken care of. So I did all my junk at night when they were sleeping, and then I was present for them during the day. We went off and we went to the Fun City, to the water park. Went to see some fireworks, went to the library, walked some trails. I took a crap ton of pictures too. And they're a reminder to when I see them, every year about that time, Google likes to show me, hey, remember these? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do remember those. Holy crap, I looked rough. So, mind you, I was hurting deep down inside because I knew that Stephanie was at least talking to a guy. I don't think I knew the depths of it at the time, but man, it was crazy because I'd spend hours on the phone talking to her, grilling her, and I don't know what it was inside of me. I just wanted to know what was going on, and I was going insane, 350 miles away. And so I went to this 4th of July party at a friend's house, and there was this chick, and I don't know where she came from, but this is just the craziness of this whole thing, and I'm just kind of just being real here. There's this chick, and I thought, man, this would be a good way for me to get over the betrayal. It's silly that I even thought that because of all the crap that I did. The mind of an addict. I don't know, but so we never did anything. But so we're walking downtown, and Stephanie's mom and dad see me, and this chick's like got her arm in mine. And he said, man, what you're doing is bad. And like in front of everybody, I started yelling and cussing and screaming and making a fool of myself. And that was a pretty embarrassing moment. Not at the time, but later on, when I came down, I did apologize to Rod because I was in the wrong. But I'd stolen her pills. she had some Ativan. I stole her pills. This is the crazy part. I'm like, somebody stole your pills. Let me go find you some, and go off on a whole long spree. So anyway, it was nuts. I'm cooking dope behind my mom's house. I'm it was kind of like playing like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type thing. Everybody thought I was doing relatively good because really I trained myself to do the things that people would or not do the things that people would look for. So I would lay down and I would close my eyes and just sit there and not go to sleep. I would eat. I had learned how to consume food, and so I could sit down and I could eat a whole meal. And those those are some of the things that people would look for. You're not sleeping. He's not eating. He must be high because he's acting crazy. But the telltale signs weren't necessarily so vivid and bright. Because, mind you, I had just gotten high before I went down there, and I was cleaning up. And I told people that I was trying to clean up. And so I come back from Iowa. We spent 2 weeks there. I spent another night at my brother's house in St. Louis, and then we came back. And this was just the most insane thing. I have never experienced this in my life. So we come back. We pull into my house. I had a house. And open the door, and I swear to you, there was probably 1,000 flies just flying around in my house. I had some fruit that I didn't throw out, and it just spoiled because I was gone 2 weeks, and I didn't have the air conditioning on as hot as or as cold as I normally would, and so these things had maggots and stuff, and they just spawned all these flies. And I tell you what, man, it was the craziest thing in the world. I had never seen so many flies. I opened the door and they're like, so, and I knew that something was going on there. Because flies, there's something about flies. They're dirty creatures. But they have they represent kind of like a demonic activity. And so I got one more story, then I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll do a finale of when I actually got clean, the couple days leading up to it. So I can't remember when exactly it was that we got back. I think it might have been a Thursday. So anyway, mind you, I got caught stealing at the Ozark, there was the Ozark Walmart. At the end of May. So here I am. I'm gonna get some stuff, and I had like $80 on me still. So I go in to Walmart, and I'd cracked my phone when I was in Iowa, and this is gonna play into it. I decided that I needed a new phone case to make sure the new phone that I got didn't get cracked. And I was going to get a mop so I could clean, I wanted to get some fly things like that. The stupid thing is I started stealing stuff. Now, mind you, I didn't just go in to steal things. I went in and I actually purchased some things, and I stole some other things. Well, I got busted again. And, it was nuts. And so here I am. They take me to the back room, and I'm thinking, oh, crap. The last time I got arrested for stealing, I ended up going to jail, and they search you and all that good stuff. It's like, I got a half a gram of meth on me right now. I'm like, oh, no, what do I do? So I ended up fishing it out of, I think it was in a cigarette pack, and I ate that sucker. I swallowed bag and all, man. And I tell you what, it was crazy because I thought the cop was going to be there. Well, he didn't show up. It was like 20 minutes that I had to sit there. And so by the time the cop got there, it was starting to really hit me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to know that I'm high. But sure enough, he didn't arrest me. I didn't get booked and released. I got a ticket. and you know, there's a court date on it. And so I walk out of there, and I tell you what, I mean, it was really, it was like, bam, what are you doing, Josh? You are falling apart. I mean, that's really, and I remember, like, I'd been praying this, but I really started praying this around about that time, that Saturday, and I called my wife and told her what happened, and I was like, God, if you don't take this desire from me, I'll die. I was really, like, I mean, I was at the end of the rope. I was done digging as far as I knew, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I had burned so many bridges. And so that's a Saturday. Sunday was the very last day. That was Sunday, July 13th, was the very last day that I used. And so next episode, I will go into that, because it's kind of wild too. And it really kind of paints a picture of just the true lonely feeling that I had, the hopelessness. But I got through. I really appreciate you watching this. I'm sure this is a long one. I don't even know how long it is right now. 16 minutes, I see it on the camera. But I really appreciate you watching this. I would really appreciate if you'd hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss another episode of Life, Recovery, and the Pursuit of Sanity. Thank you so much. Peace.